Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the CI Sports Zone. I'm Christopher Huslig. Joining with me, as always, my co-host, Thomas Garverick, and in the building yet again for another week, the general manager of Clutch Sports Media, Jonathan Michael. Fellas, great. We have some very interesting basketball happen over the weekend. Some things we talked about last week with that Washington game, and then some other games that kind of went interesting ways. So
yeah, I'd like to apologize to the Metamora fan base because we talked about their home court win streak
and then they lost
on the show.
That's on us.
And then they lost on Friday. So my apologies, but we're gonna get to that game in a bit.
Yeah, that was definitely, I struggle to use the term shocker because nothing really is a shocker in the middle line this year for basketball, but that was definitely surprising and a huge win for Dunlap that we'll get into later. But yeah, lots of great hoops over the weekend. Conference games on Friday, and then some shootouts on Saturday. Obviously, still some MLK Day shootouts today here as we record this on Monday as well. I'm looking forward to going to the second half of the Mid-Illini and Big 12 girls shootout over in Pekin. Going to be a lot of great games there. So yeah, just a great time for a lot of fun games and hoops. A lot of good mix of conference, non-conference, even some conference tournaments going on right now. So yeah, a lot of stuff going on. A lot of stuff to talk about today.
Great time of the year for hoops. It comes at a perfect time, right, with football season for the NFL and college football winding down. Mm-hmm. And obviously, JM, the big headliner was Morton knocking off Washington at home to get them their first loss of the year.
Yeah, that was a very impressive win for Morton. They were, in their pink out uniforms.
Yeah, how about
right
that?
There. Yeah, there must be something in those uniforms. I think Morton might be wanting to wear those more often because they came out pretty hot against Washington, and Washington led 5-2 at one point. That was their last lead of the game. Morton's defense did a really good job on all of Washington's players. No one really got super hot from the field. Avery Tibbs kind of had a little bit of a charge late and got him to within 2 in the final seconds. But Abby Van Mennen knocking down the big free throws at the end to seal the win. Penelope Drake also played phenomenal for Morton. She was the real big difference maker in the first quarter. Had 3 steals all by herself and converted all of those by herself. Took it right down the other way for layups. Also had a few big blocks too. So she was just massive on defense. And also, too, a lot of other, players, Abby Brooks, Peyton Hayes, players that maybe didn't score a ton of that game were really big on defense. And you see Jamie King there. He's talking to me about, what all they did. And that when he was really pumped up, that's just a huge win for Morton. And, I'd say until further notice, I think they've earned the #1 spot in the state in Class 3A and the top spot in the Mid-Illini right now. So that's really good for Morton. They got a few big games coming up too. They got Richwoods later today on Monday, and also have Galesburg, who is #3 in the state, I believe.
Galesburg is really, really good. They beat Peoria Notre Dame convincingly when I got to visit them. Gosh, that game was probably almost a month ago now. So yeah, Galesburg is very legit for sure.
Yeah, it's going to be a good test for Morton, but also want to touch on Washington real quick too. Really nice job responding. The game after they played Morton, they responded against Metamora, who's in 3rd place in the Mid-Illini right now. Pretty solid Metamora team, and they beat them 69-26. So I think any team that's going to face Washington now you should be on ultra high watch because
Morton made them upset. Is what
yes,
I'm hearing.
Exactly. The Potters made them upset. And so Washington's going to be coming out with a fire under their belly for the next few games, probably for the rest of the season as well. So very nice job responding by Washington. And again, in the long run, they'll be just fine. It's a great game against a great team.
Sometimes it's just a good thing to get that first loss out of the way, right? Especially for high school teams, and rightfully so. You go into a postseason tournament undefeated, and you just feel like, the target is on your back, right? It's like, hey, we want to be that team to beat you. So sometimes a loss is a blessing in disguise, to James' point of, it makes you kind of wake up and go, okay, we got to clean some things up and get back on track.
It helps you face adversity before it's too late. Now Washington's seen, hey, we fell, but we came right back. We've picked it up, and we're good to go moving forward. So
yeah, there's been a precedent too. Morton beat them in the regular season last year, ended their undefeated season, and Washington came back and beat them in the playoffs. So not to say that that's going to happen again this year. It certainly could, but again, yeah, kind of both of you guys, what you were saying, your points. Yeah, Washington just could take that and use it as a great learning experience, and potentially use that in the playoffs too.
Now, do they play each other again in Washington?
They do. They will play each other again in Washington on February 10th to close out the regular season.
Beautiful.
That'll be a big game to end the season. See if Washington can hit that.
That'll probably be for the Mid-Illini regular season championship, I would imagine, right?
Yeah.
If they both go in, if Washington's one game behind.
As long as neither team slips up in conference play, which again could happen. Dunlap, Metamora, Pekin, all still good teams, but assuming both teams win out until that game, if Washington would win, then the teams would share the title, and then obviously if Morton wins, obviously they win it outright. So
yeah, well, pivoting here just a little bit, the next game you told us you wanted to talk about, Jonathan, Peoria High and Richwoods.
Packed house, of course.
Yeah, this was an awesome game.
One of those cross-town rivalries we talked about last week where they just get absolutely electric.
Yeah, that place was jumping at the start of the game. I mean, it was just every basket. The crowd pops were crazy. Very fast-paced, very high-scoring first half. I mean, just back and forth. Both teams just going right on the floor. See, I saw a couple great dunks there. Phoenix Foy, that one just brought the house down there for Peoria High. I think Jacob Duffin and a couple others had some big slams. Lions hit some big shots, and they were down again at halftime. The game kind of slowed down a little bit. I thought both teams were going to reach 80 in this game, honestly, at halftime. I think it was, I forget what the score was. I know Richwoods had over 40 and Peoria High was like, they had like 36 or 38, somewhere around there. Ended up being I got to pull it, make sure I get this right here. Ended up being a 74-65 win for Peoria High. Both teams, again, looked good. It was a fun game. The key thing is both teams really struggled to make free throws in that game. And I mean, they left a lot of points on the line. Both teams did. It was a great comeback win for Peoria High. Especially on the road after they lost to Richwoods earlier in the season. Jacob Duffin looked really good. Nigel Moore looked really good. But yeah, just a few things to clean up for both teams. But the biggest story was Amarion Smith-Holly was back for Richwoods. We were talking last week. He's going to have
that he is going to be absent
3
for
to
a
4 weeks.
Longer.
And what do you know? He misses 1 week, and then he says, you know what? I'm back. So it's got to be nice to be 16, 17 years old and just be able to bounce back from injuries like that. So, fingers crossed he stays healthy, but that was a big surprise, for Richwoods. And again, hopefully he can stay on the court because they're obviously, pretty good when he's on the floor. So, that was a big takeaway there for Richwoods.
There you go. Yeah, you just watch guys, and when I've seen him play, Amarion Smith-Holly, that is, he just looks like a dude who's going to be playing at the next level. He just has that it factor about him. So glad that he bounced back, because that was my first thought. I think either Kurt or Patrick shot that game, and so I didn't see that. And then I was like, wait, I'm pretty sure that's Amarion Smith-Holly playing. So very good. We love that. We don't like when the best players in our coverage area are on the sidelines. We like when they're in the game playing.
Well, man,
difference.
In any sport, also, injuries are never something you want, like sports hurt, you're going to be banged up, but we don't ever want anyone injured, so it's great to see him, he's all right. He's out there playing, doing what he loves to do. And that's another thing. Nobody likes looking at a kid on the sideline who wants nothing more than to be out there with his guys. It's a rough feeling, and it's not fun to watch as a fan either. You can just see them chomping at the bit. So I'm just happy he's healthy enough to get back out there, and hope he can stay that way. That's the biggest part of the game.
And to JM's point about the crowd pops, I'll tell you what, Richwoods, just the way that gym is just constructed, you just feel every basket. When that place is full, it's rocking. It's one of my favorite places to actually shoot as a videographer, because you are feeling every basket as it's happening. And for me, when you're on the floor or wherever at shooting and you can just feel like you're a part of the game, like, it's awesome. So yeah, that atmosphere is always incredible when those two teams get together.
Yeah, and then kind of pivoting here, yet again, another boys game that was something of a talking point for us this
The
week.
Jinx is real.
Yeah.
This is all my fault. I brought this up on the podcast.
Dunlap, Metamora. What a game by the Eagles, and I mean even Metamora. It was just a great, fun game to watch.
Yeah, I mean, maybe not for Metamora fans. I'm sure they were probably, probably left thinking that, hey, this is the game we should have won. I know it's a game that I know Justin Dame and the Redbirds feel like, they should have had. But yeah, I give credit to Dunlap. I mean, that's a scrappy team. It's a team that, again, beat Rock Island earlier in the season. So it's not like Dunlap is just kind of middling around in mediocrity. I mean, their record is 7-9 right now. But I mean, when this team is playing well, they can really hang with some of the best in the area. So really good games from Gavin Gibbs. He scored 21 for the Eagles. Just kind of really kind of bullied them kind of around the paint a little bit. Marvin Jordan, the third son of head coach for Manual, Marvin Jordan, obviously, had 15 in that game. Had it looks like 6 points in overtime, so it came up big when the lights were bright. And then also Kendall Farmer had 16 points for Dunlap as well. So again, that's just a really big win for the Eagles, and it just again shows that you can't take games off in the Mid-Illini, even when you have a 50-game home win streak and you're facing a team that's on the bottom half of the conference. So Dunlap, you're seeing them play some close games. I saw them at Metamora, I believe, in a playoff game. I couldn't remember if it was a playoff game or if it was the end of the regular season game. I saw them at Metamora last year, and they gave Metamora a run for their money. And this time they actually, got the big prize. They got that big win on the road. So, Dunlap's a team I'm really looking forward to seeing. They're going to be back at Metamora actually for the Redbird Round Ball Classic shootout this weekend, facing off against a team from Mississippi. So, going to be fun to watch.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah, well, kind of pivoting now. Let's go back to some girls hoops here with some Brimfield.
We spent a lot of time talking about the Brimfield boys, and rightfully so. They're having a great season, but JM, the girls are turning some heads.
They are. Yeah, this was a team that was, almost left for dead about mid-December. They were 2-8 at one point, and again, they obviously suffered a lot of key losses. They lost Ava Hines, from last year, who was just such a big player for that team. So there's kind of new core. Not brand new, but again, trying to learn how to play without that one girl you can always rely on. And, they've really picked it up big time. They are now 11-11 again. So they're 8-3 in their last 11 games. This was a team that, admittedly, in my head, I sort of almost did write off a little bit earlier in the season, thinking that, probably not their year, going to be kind of a transition year with no Hines and everything. But the Indians have really picked things up. They beat North Fulton, Monmouth, Roseville last week. They also beat Farmington as well. So big stretch coming up. They got some key games against Lewiston and Havana, Illini Bluffs coming down the stretch as well. So some big games coming up for Brimfield, but really been impressed with how they've played lately.
Yeah, what's interesting, I love about Brimfield is like their background, right? They got that letter B up top.
Breaking through.
And it's breaking through.
I was going to say, I love their gym because my high school back home in Kansas, we were the Cardinals, and in the gym, it was a photo of it was like the picture of the Cardinal, like kicking through the wall, and it looked just like that with the broken wall. So like I really appreciate the maybe it's a small town thing, I guess, I don't know, but
yeah, that was the very first thing that jumped out to me whenever I first stepped into that gym. Like I just think that's such a cool design.
I also love how it's right behind the backboard.
Yeah,
so like
it can be kind of distracting.
You just see it right through the backboard. It looks cool. I'm sure I could see how during a game that might be a bit distracting, but it's awesome to look at. So I'm a big fan. I really love that from Brimfield.
Yeah, but to JM's point, though, it's easy for us to get up here on this show every week and talk about the teams who are playing really well, right? But the fact that Brimfield started slow and they've been able to kind of navigate their way through their schedule, it's cool for us to see teams that, hey, people might have wrote you off early on, but the beautiful thing about basketball in particular, sometimes when you have turnover, kind of to what Jonathan was talking about earlier, it takes some time. It takes real game time to figure out, okay, we're losing a lot of scoring. We're losing a lot of leadership. Who steps into those roles? Who steps up? Who becomes the biggest part of the offense? How do they rework kind of what they do? So it's cool to see Brimfield is navigating that.
For sure. And real quick, I know I don't want to stray too far off what we had, but while we're talking ICAC basketball real quick, shout out to Peoria Christian. That's another team, the boys, that started off a little slow. They were under 500 coming into the year, and they have now won 6 straight. They won the ICAC tournament last week over Peoria Heights, and they also beat Brimfield in the semifinals. So that's a Chargers team that is really starting to look a lot better than they were at the start of the year. So keep an eye out for them.
Yeah, I was going to say, I shot Peoria Christian pretty much exclusively last year. Like, I was always there, and I've only seen them once.
He was the beat reporter for them, pretty much.
Yeah. Me and the Persingers, I have so much highlights of that team from last year, but I could tell early on he was very frustrated with that team, and rightfully so. It's hard when you go from a team who made it to state the year before, and obviously when you lose Malachi Persinger, you're really figuring out, okay, what's next. But to your point, JM, when I found out that they beat Brimfield, I was stunned because I was like, I've seen Brimfield, and I thought Brimfield, and obviously they're still a really good team, but that was a really big win for Peoria Christian. Just the fact of, to your point of how they started their season, because their season could have went really sideways. So really good recovery from the Chargers.
Well, Thomas, also, your day was started a little bit earlier today than normal. Actually, than normal. You were actually down in Normal.
Down in Normal.
For that U-High game.
As a Bloomington resident, so this is the second year I've gotten to shoot the MLK shootout down at Central Catholic. Mr. Fitzgerald there had a monster day. We're going to talk about him quite a bit. He's got one of the best shooting strokes I've seen. But yeah, it's always a fun time. I never mind starting my workday early if it means I get to cover some hoops in the morning. So shout out to Central Catholic. They have a nice little hospitality room.
Oh, so that's the best.
Oh, we were covered. They had coffee set up and donuts, and then pizza came in at 11:15. Oh, it was awesome. I'm like,
oh my God.
I'm like, this is beautiful.
Why do I never get to cover this stuff?
I should have made the drive this morning.
Exactly. So, but yeah, I'm really, really impressed with what I saw of this U-High team. This is actually the first time I've seen U-High in person. Fitzgerald knocked down 6 threes in this game.
Wow.
But I really like Cameron Johnson. Big guy, but he's a facilitator. Like right here, double team, cut, pass, score. Like really like this U-High team, and I think they're definitely going to be a team to watch for in postseason play.
Yeah, you guys have really been picking it up. I mean, not really picking it up. They've been playing at a high level for quite a while now. They've won 11 of their last 12, and that only loss came by 2 points to Joliet Catholic Academy back at the State Farm Holiday Classic. So they played a lot of conference games recently. A lot of teams that maybe aren't quite as much in our area. They've beaten Lanphier and Jacksonville, Decatur, Eisenhower. They beat Lincoln. Lincoln's pretty solid. They beat them last week, as well as they beat Warrensburg Latham, who is the number 5 team in Class 2A last week as well. So couple that with a good win over Maroa Forsyth earlier, just today, and that Pioneers team is looking really good. And I was looking at their postseason path. They definitely do have they're a 3A team, but we talk all this 3A with Peoria High and Morton, East Peoria. Oh, that subsectional so crowded. Well, Normal UI is not in that one. They're in a different one with a few other teams from kind of more around the Champaign area, the Decatur, Springfield area. So I think the Pioneers are a team that I think we could be talking about a lot more as the season kind of gets deeper and as we get in the postseason. But this is a team that we could realistically see making a sectional title, maybe even making it to super sectionals or state. Who knows? That's I've been very impressed with the green and gold this year.
Yeah, 2 things jumped out to me about them today. They share the ball offensively really well. Those highlights showed it, I hope. And at this level, when you have 3, 4, 5 guys who can all shoot the ball, who can cut well, who move well without the ball. It makes you really, really hard to guard defensively. And then on the other side of the ball, they controlled the glass. Not a lot of second chance opportunities. There was one guy from Royal Forsyth who was causing problems, and you could just hear the entire U-High section like, box out, get him. But, that's a team who is fundamentally sound. And to Jonathan's point, is a team who can absolutely make a run in the postseason.
Yeah, well, Jonathan, before we let you go, I know you got a busy day. Is there anything else you'd like to brush up with going into this next week of basketball, or what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's kind of taking a look at what's ahead, what to keep an eye out for this week. Obviously, the Heart of Illinois Conference tournament in both boys and girls going to be fun to watch. There's always kind of an upset here or there that kind of throw things off a little bit. It's a lot of different contenders. Again, championship games will be at the Shirk Center at Illinois Wesleyan on Saturday. Got the Redbird Roundball Shootout. Great lineup in Metamora on Friday and Saturday. Canton, Washington, Peoria High, Metamora, Normal Community, East Peoria, all playing in there. Obviously, Dunlap there is playing on Friday there as well. So all of them facing teams that usually aren't, that we don't cover, not in our area. So some great matchups there. Definitely recommend going out there if you have, a free Friday or a free Saturday. So yeah, a lot of great basketball just on the way, and we're kind of in the meat of it right now. I mean, about a week or so can start maybe start thinking about the playoffs a little bit. It's getting close.
It's almost that time.
We're almost there, man. We're getting it's just weird. We're getting near the end of basketball and college and NFL football, so it's just interesting. Well, Jonathan, thank you so much for joining us. Everyone
Appreciate
watching on the WMBD Plus app, thank you. We will be back here after this break. Hello and welcome back to this week's episode of the CI Sports Zone. I'm Christopher Huslig, and joining with me, my co-host Thomas Garverick, and our avid Panthers fan Alex Berger.
Yeah,
a fan favorite.
It does say avid Panthers fan.
I change your lower third up almost every time just to get something different in there.
It's fun.
For those of you just now joining us, thank you so much for joining us on the WMBD Plus app. We just got done talking with Jonathan Michael about some upset basketballs and Thomas jinxing local basketball teams. So just blame him for all that.
Seriously, that's I'm not going to be welcome back at the door anymore.
Wow.
Well, guys, we're going to talk a little bit about this national championship game. Obviously, it is happening Monday evening, which is when we're filming this. So the original air will run before the game. So we're just going to talk about it briefly. So if you're watching this on Wednesday, the game's already happened. Don't hate us. It is.
Sorry, guys.
We'll be back next Monday to talk about the outcome. Indiana, Miami. I have seen some crazy things about the tickets for this game.
How much are they?
They were like, I saw, now granted, it's the internet.
I want to say I've seen anywhere between like $3,000 to $5,000 maybe.
So this is the internet, so I do want to say it's easy to fake.
Just any ticket,
but I think I saw something that said Ticketmaster said the cheapest ticket was like $3,500.
I'm not surprised.
Down in Miami. So
you've got Indiana, who has not been relevant in almost
ever,
right? And then you have Miami, who is playing in their backyard, literally. Yeah, poor Indiana, but Indiana's really good now.
No, yeah.
And then you have Miami, who is literally playing in their backyard.
Yeah, it's going to be quite the stadium for Miami.
I think, like, here's the thing: Indiana's really not even too terribly far. Like, Indiana fans are going to travel just fine to this game as well. So, like,
general.
I'm really excited. I think as we get kind of closer, I kind of feel like the game's going to be a little better than I originally thought. Hopes for Miami still aren't super high, but as we said, it's in their backyard. They do have that going for them.
Kurt Segnetti said in an interview, he's like, yeah, I don't know about that 8.5 point spread that I've been seeing. So we'll see. My analysis of this game is pretty simple. It's whoever wins the trenches wins the game, right? It's a basic, football take, but in this game, that's what it's going to come down to, right? Because you've got Miami's great defensive line. can they get to Mendoza? And then vice versa. Carson Beck, when teams have been pressuring him, he's been able to utilize his legs. He's not a super athletic guy, but Carson Beck has been able to avoid sacks, avoid turnovers. So whatever team can get to the opposing team's quarterback, I know, again, that every NFL, any college football guy says that, but in this game, that's going to be what it takes, because Fernando Mendoza has done literally whatever he's wanted to do in the postseason.
Yep.
And so if Miami cannot generate any pressure on him, he's just going to sit back in the pocket and he's going to dissect the defense all day.
I also think my biggest question mark for this game is Carson Beck. I think Miami's outcomes kind of come down to what he's been he's had rough points in the season, but granted, come the playoffs, he did what he needed to do. So I'm very interested to see, can he keep what he's been doing, or is this high explosive Indiana defense who kind of forces you to make mistakes? They've made teams who don't make mistakes, like Ohio State, make those mistakes. So I think it could be a good game. To me, the biggest question mark is, what can Carson Beck get done in that backfield? Can his offensive line give him time?
Yeah.
Indiana, honestly, we've said it, they're one of the better teams we've seen play in college football. They're really good. They're really solid. They don't make mistakes, and they make you mess up.
I think this Miami team is something that a lot of people are kind of counting out. Indiana is having that historic year, and they are absolutely the favorites, if there's ever been a favorite in college football, barring the, Georgia TCU. Oh my gosh, I was just thinking about that game. This is not that. I think people are really thinking this will be a steamroll, but this is going to be one of two ways, okay? Either it will be an Indiana steamroll because of how good they are, or the system quarterback, Carson Beck, is going to play into his system quarterback pocket, and Miami's going to actually pull this one off, and is going to be a heartbreaker for Indiana because, I mean, let's face it, Miami is grittier than Indiana. They're more scrappy. Indiana's more like touchdown. You know what I mean? More like, we're going to get to your quarterback. But Miami, they have way more to prove. Indiana doesn't have to prove anyone anything. I mean, why'd I say this? This feels like the one Super Bowl where it was Giants and they're 9-7 against the undefeated Patriots, and the Giants went on to win that game. That is what this is. I think Miami gets it done tonight.
Yeah, and I mean, it's just, as you said, Miami has that history of just rough-nosed football. And
absolutely.
So it'll be, Michael Irvin will for sure be on the sideline with them doing whatever
SNL's depiction of him was great.
Whatever that dude does, I don't even know, but it's funny.
Yeah.
And also, that dude's energy has got to be contagious for that sideline. He's just crazy. So
he's a pride alum, that's for sure. I think too, I know we talk a lot about the quarterbacks, but Mark Fletcher for Miami is a name to watch in this game. Excellent running back.
So good.
He literally reminds me of he's like the college baby version of what Derrick Henry is. Like, he's just a big bruiser. And so I think Miami's strategy, it'll be interesting. Does Miami try to maximize their possessions and say, hey, we're going to take shots down the field, or are they going to do what they've been doing in the postseason, which worked really well against Ohio State, was they just said, we're going to run the ball, we're going to control the clock, we're going to eat the clock, we are going to take away possessions from your offense.
That's exactly right.
And so that'll be interesting to see if they try to lean on the ground game.
I think
that's part of it too. If one of these two teams gets their ground game going, then that's really going to be problematic for the opposite side, right? Because everybody's thinking about Malachi Toney and Carson Beck and Mendoza and Surratt. But if these run games get going, Indiana's got two really good running backs. Miami's got two really good running backs. That also will play a factor in this game.
Well, and as I said, with that Carson Beck being a question mark, that you eliminate that very easily. If you can get the run game going, one, his reads become so much easier because they have to bring safeties down. It's a little easier to take the top off, take those big risks in the game. But as you said, for Fletcher, that watching that guy run is so
He's
much
really
fun.
good.
And
He'll be a very good player at the next
and
level.
that Miami offensive line's good, and I think he just makes them so much better because if they mess up, he's not getting brought down on first contact. As you said, he's that bruiser guy. It's if you don't hit him low, you're not taking him down in the hole.
I could see him in like a Monungai situation to where he's just that, all right, 3rd and 1, get in there,
Yeah, I'm not sure where Fletcher will go draft-wise. I think he'll go probably a little bit higher than Monungai. Monungai was a 7th rounder, and I would argue
of course,
he probably should have went a little bit higher. But I think Fletcher has a chance to be a starter right out of the chute in the NFL, but we'll see.
Yeah.
That being said, I'm going Indiana tonight. I think they win. It's tough because I could see it being a blowout, but it's like you're
Right.
playing in Miami, and it really just depends on, does Miami come out and feed off of that crowd?
Yeah.
And that's going to really set the tone for this game. If Miami feeds off of that, I think they'll be fine. But if Mendoza comes out and just walks down the field for a couple touchdowns in the first quarter, I can see it getting ugly. But I'm going to say Indiana by 4.
By 4. Okay,
points.
I like that.
I'm going to go
I like that a
Indiana
lot,
by
actually.
4.
Because this is really, I'm not saying Miami's going to stomp Indiana. They won't. It's going to be won by, like a field goal or a single score game. So I like that pick.
We need a thriller, right? Like,
of
course.
I would say, just think about last year's title game. Like, nobody really gave Notre Dame a chance against Ohio State.
Loved that team.
No one did. Notre Dame, great run, but no one was like, oh yeah, Notre Dame. Like, people are actually saying Miami can win this game because of their offensive line, because of their defensive line, because of Malachi Toney, because of Fletcher. Like,
Is he related to Kadarius?
I think they actually are.
Are they actually?
I think they're cousins.
Here, continue.
Well, while you looked at, for this one, I'm also going to go with Indiana. I think that Indiana team is just too good. I think
It's the storybook ending.
They're a very complete
Not
team.
related.
Oh, they're not related
That's
at all.
Interesting.
Bummer. I thought they were.
Sorry.
I'm gonna take a shot here though. I'm gonna hit that over on 8 though. I think Indiana will have it by 10 points.
Whoa.
Christopher says that Indiana runs away with it.
Hey, I think
It's not ridiculous.
So we got Christopher running away with it. We got me, Indiana in a close one, and then we have Alex
With Miami
in an upset.
Like I said,
One of us will be right.
So Alex, here's my question for you.
Okay.
Are you taking Miami to win or just cover that 8-point spread?
win. I mean, they're going to win. I'm going to be so honest, guys. I don't do the whole cover. I understand it. I get it. I understand the spread. I don't do that because
Alex says, forget your points. They're winning the game.
Alex is going straight money line Miami.
Keep your points.
they're going to win 114 to 111. Oh wait, we're talking football.
But it's always fun. I love talking just about odds makers and how they do it. And that's just, that 8.5 point line is just such a kudos to what Indiana has done to Oregon and Alabama. And I think more so Oregon, because people really thought Oregon had a legit chance to make that game really good. And that did not happen.
I just think it's really funny watching the spread change or like watching the odds change to where you're like, why now minus 1.68?
Or it's always funny because you can tell when someone put a whole bunch of money on one of them because then all of a sudden it just shifts and you're like, oh, someone with a lot of money just dropped. But
I mean,
well, the whole college basketball world, that's a whole nother thing. They got issues there.
Oh Lord!
But we're rooting for a good game, I'm going to manifest Indiana in a close one.
I'm taking Indiana, not so close, and then Alex has Miami. So anyway, there is a lot of NFL that happened this weekend that we will want to want a little bit extra time to brush up on as we head into very interesting conference championship, especially on the AFC side with some new developments that are very unfortunate. So we will be back after a short break with some NFL. Welcome back to this week's episode of the CI Sports Zone. I'm Christopher Hueslick. Joining with me, as always, my co-host, Thomas Garverick, and avid Panthers fan, Alex Berger.
I love it, man. I love these changes to the little.
I gotta keep the people at home on their toes, man. Like,
you gotta.
It can't have them expecting the same thing every time. And yours is just the easiest one to switch.
It is.
You know, Thomas is the co-host. I'm a co-host producer. Jonathan's always just the Clutch Sports Media general manager. manager. So.
Yeah, he's
Right.
JM the GM.
And then we have Patrick Michael Cunningham the third when he joined. So, I break out the whole name. I got to do something goofy for Alex, man.
Gotta.
Well,
I
guys.
appreciate that.
Well, guys. A very interesting NFL playoff weekend. Kind of. Actually, hey.
We had two thrillers and then two duds.
And then two duds. I mean,
Yeah.
we're going to start with the Bears because Caleb Williams somehow, some way, finds a way. And it's so much fun to watch. And I just want to start this by saying, if you're a Bears fan, all right, you should be absolutely nothing but pleased with this team so far.
Incredibly pleased.
You got a first-year head coach. Well, not for your first-year head coach. Your quarterback's in his second year.
Second year.
Rome Odunze, one of your best receivers, is still really young. You got Kyle Monangai, who came out of nowhere pretty much. I mean, this team is they're fun to watch. I'm not even a Bears fan,
Yeah.
And it's just like, if you're anything but excited, looking forward to next season, it's just wrong. They went up against a really good Rams football team that we've seen has a very experienced. I'm gonna liken this to something we've seen before.
Let's hear it.
This reminds me of Patrick Mahomes' first round when he faced Tom Brady in the AFC Championship. It was a young quarterback in I think that was Mahomes' first actual year starting. Now I don't know, Jim. Sorry. This is no, but it's a great tie-in because they're similar. You had a young quarterback going up against a veteran who has playoff and Super Bowl experience.
Absolutely, 100% agree.
And then the only difference is Mahomes lost because D Ford decided to jump off sides on an incomplete pass to
D
Gronk.
Ford?
Yeah, D Ford.
Oh, D Ford. Okay, I was like, I thought you said like D4.
D4, we're playing bingo now.
Yeah, I was like, who's that?
No, D Ford jumped off sides on that fourth down play, given the Patriots. But Caleb, first of all, that throw.
Probably the greatest playoff throw ever.
I was at a youth group event last night. We're all watching it on my phone because I'm like, we got to see how this thing ends. And I kid you not, that is hands down one of the, and I criticize people for being prisoner of the moment, but that is absolutely top 5, one of the best throws in one of the high leverage moments I've ever seen.
I mean,
I've ever seen.
You know what it reminded me of? Have you guys ever played the old school Tecmo Bowl?
Yeah.
You know when you could just play as the, you know how you could just play as the Cowboys and just run back to the end zone and just throw it?
Yeah, that's what it was.
And Troy Aikman would complete the pass every single time. That's exactly. He takes the snap. The offensive line, I don't know what they were doing. Congrats to them because they had been playing great all game.
Yeah.
But just the pressure got to them on this play. Caleb just turns and starts running the wrong direction. I'm like, oh Lord.
He's not even going to get a throw off.
This is not going to. And then he just whips around, finds, who was that? Colston Loveland?
It was Cole Kmet.
It was one of the tight ends. It wasn't even a receiver. It was a tight end and just yucks it. Now, why there wasn't a single Rams defender anywhere near him, I don't know.
It looked like Durant just misplayed it.
He got separation from him.
Missed.
It was a perfect play by Caleb.
I think I wonder if the Caleb antics kind of got him a little giddy, so he kind of lost.
Well, again, it's when a quarterback extends the play like that.
It's so
all bets are off.
You want to talk about separation? He got separation 20 yards back. You should have seen. We had a Bears watch party with my sister's boyfriend's family.
My sister's boyfriend's family's cousin's aunt's dog.
He's been making fun of me this all day. We were watching, and that play happens. At that point, we're like, this is the game. And he's going 20 yards back, and hey, we've seen this before. It's going to turn into hook and ladder. It's not going to go very well. And he goes off his back foot. Mind you, you can't do that play in Madden. It won't get there. He just yams it. My dad played tight end in high school and also played tight end in semi-pro. Loves tight ends, loves Cole Kmet specifically. So when my dad saw 85 catch that ball, you best believe that man jumped out of his seat and was like, Kmet, yes! Oh my God. And then you see that his home run celebration, and you're like, if you're a Bears fan, you just turn into Goku.
Well, and my thing is going into the draft, the Bears already, if the Bears didn't add anybody this offseason, I think they'd have have an even better year next year, just because everyone's now getting that experience. But that's not how the NFL works. They're going, they're only going to be getting better.
No, you have to get better.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. They're going to get better, but it's just like I'd be comfortable even if they weren't adding, but they're going to.
Right.
And so it's just as a Bear fan,
easy for
ecstatic.
Bears fans to be just like, all right, the season ends in heartbreak and stuff like that.
Right.
I agree with one of my good childhood buddies. We said it best though, is I do think, and I'm not, I think in general, and I was watching Good Morning Football earlier in the week, and Kyle Brandt said this. Kyle Brandt is a big Bears fan.
Which is weird because I always thought he's Bills.
Yeah, but he loves the Bears.
Yeah.
But he said like the whole mindset for Bears fans is, well, we beat the Packers and we didn't lose in the first round. And I didn't like that mindset because my buddy brought up a good point that I agree with, is in the NFL, you don't know when it's going to be your year, right? Like you don't know. Like, and I think that's the tough thing. Now, the Bears, in my opinion, are going to be in the playoffs for the next decade as long as Ben Johnson's the head coach and as long as Caleb Williams is the quarterback.
Yep.
But I just was like, why is that the mindset? Like, do you not believe like that? Who's saying that the Bears in a close game couldn't just keep winning? So I didn't like that the national perception of Bears fans being like, well, this is the house money game. I don't like that phrase. I understand where it comes from. It's like, well, they won the division, they beat the Packers, they're in the divisional round. With that being said, like, I mean, that the ending was crushing for the Bears, right?
Yeah.
It was absolutely crushing because that was a game, like a lot of the close games they've won, you could argue and say they didn't deserve to win. And I would say that they played well enough that entire game to win. And unfortunately, it came down to Caleb Williams throwing an interception. And we had a big debate about this. If you go and watch that replay, go look up what Chase Daniel did on the breakdown of that play. DJ Moore didn't speak to the media after the game.
No.
DJ Moore should not be a Chicago Bear next year.
Oh, wow.
I'll go ahead and say it. DJ Moore, the route he was supposed to run, he was supposed to come underneath.
Yep.
And DJ Moore just kind of like faded, which is why when you see the interception, DJ Moore wasn't even in any position because when you play quarterback in the National Football League, you are an anticipation thrower, right?
Yep. You can't react.
You're not reacting. Now, Caleb can extend plays, but you are anticipating that your receiver is going to be at the spot where you need him to be. And if you watch, there was plenty of space for DJ Moore to run underneath. And at minimum, that play doesn't end in an interception. It's either an incomplete pass or a reception. I've said this. I don't like DJ Moore. I don't like the energy that he brings with this team. I don't think that he likes being second fiddle to Odunze, now Luther Burden and Loveland. Bears should say, see you later, DJ. If anything, Rome Odunze's team now, Colson Loveland's team now, Burden's team. Those are your top three pass catchers. Right. That's who you build around.
Well, and we've been talking about the Bears. I do want to give props to the Rams. What a game they played.
They played clean. They played
Stafford is just, he's so fun to watch. I mean, he's got that experience.
See, I would argue though that the Rams played not to lose in that game.
Yeah.
I like the Rams won that game because McVay, Stafford had been there before. But I wasn't impressed.
No.
I was not impressed. Like, they ran the ball well. Kyron Williams had a good game, scored a couple touchdowns.
They put him on the ropes, man.
Right. Obviously, they had the early play in the first half, the Bears' opening drive interception that prevented points off the board. But, like, this was not, I didn't walk away going like, wow, this gives me confidence that the Rams are going to beat the Seahawks, right? Yeah. Like, I get it was really cold, and that's not who the Rams are. They're used to a neutral climate, right? But they're going to Seattle next week. Yeah. And even though the Seahawks are now without Zach Charbonnet for the rest of the season, torn ACL, which stinks. Seahawks are going to the Super Bowl, and I still think at this moment in time, the Seahawks are going to win it all because that defense is that good. Now, not having Charbonnet, that's big because they love to run the football, but Kenneth Walker was great against the Niners, so it'll be interesting to see.
Well, and
he's a better back.
I mean, they're both really good. They're both good.
Absolutely. It's
my thing with the Rams too is that's the last quarterback left who's been here, who's done this. He knows what it takes.
Right.
And
So
then,
you would argue that gives the Rams a significant advantage because Stafford's been there.
well, then kind of the other game that was a real fun to watch, and I got to give you some flack on the podcast, Thomas, because I told you he couldn't get it done, and he sure didn't. Bills fall to the Broncos, which brings up a very devastating point that we'll get to here in a minute with Bo Nix's injury. But Josh Allen looked rough. Like that fumble where he threw it back 10 yards, that was terrible.
It was probably Josh Allen's worst game in the spotlight.
Here's the problem is years and years of just him not being like him carrying that team and they just can't quite get it done. I wonder if in his head it was like, I have to make a play, instead of just kind of trusting in your team a little bit. And it's rough because
it's like I said, it's all psychological now.
Year after year. Yeah, there was a couple of games where he didn't play his best in the playoff, but for the most part, he's played great games and has great stats in the playoffs.
Yeah.
It's just the rest of his team wasn't always there. And I think this year going into it, he had that mindset of, I don't have to face Mahomes. He's hearing all that. So I think in his head, he was like, I've got to get this done. And I think he put too much stress on himself, honestly. The rest of his team, giving up 33 points to the Denver Broncos is outrageous.
I'd like to highlight something about this game.
No, I do like the. Sorry, Alex.
No, you're good. You're good.
I do like that Broncos offense, but it felt like Josh Allen felt like he needed to do too much, and when you try to do too much as a quarterback, it just doesn't work.
I think two things that I take away from this game. When it ended, I literally said, Sean McDermott, enjoy the unemployment line. And then they fire him. Goodbye.
You have to.
It's a great opening. Somebody else is going to slide in there. I like Mike McCarthy for that job personally. Broncos. The whole thing is, this is the worst thing ever. It's terrible that Bo Nix broke his ankle, but Jarrett Stidham is not terrible. As far as backup quarterbacks go.
He hasn't thrown a pass in 2 years.
I'm not saying he's Tom Brady, but look at his reps on the Patriots. Pretty good. Look at his reps even while playing for the Broncos. He's good enough to compete.
He's going up against a Patriots defense that has been.
It's incredible defense, and they're probably going to win. This is not going to be, what we saw from the Seahawks 49ers.
This is going to be the easiest game the Patriots have had all season.
I don't know, because they still have Nick Bonito. They still have Patrick Surtain.
I'll be honest. I was not that impressed with the Broncos defense. Like, to me,
they have some of the best players.
Outside of the interception in overtime, that play was unreal.
Sure. Oh my!
That play was. I know that there's been a lot of controversy. That play was unreal to do that in real time. Like, Cooks is going to the ground with the ball, and this dude just sticks his head in the bread basket and rolls over and picks it. I know that there's been a lot of controversy. A play like that in particular probably won't ever happen again because it's so hard to do, in real time.
It's just such a bang bang play.
Oh, that's literally the all-time definition of a bang play. I'd be shocked if we see anything like that, where it's like a 50-yard pass play that literally I go, because I'm like, oh, he's got it, and then all of a sudden I see the Broncos guy has it. I'm like, what's going on? But I'm a big Josh Allen defender. I remain a Josh Allen defender.
His offensive line is not.
His whole team, it was heartbreaking watching some of those post-game interviews, and watching Josh Allen say, you could feel the raw emotion of him saying, I've let my teammates down.
Yeah.
But to your point, Alex, this is by far the worst playoff performance that he's had in a long time. It was just such a wild game. And it really started with the Bills shot themselves in the foot a billion times in this game.
Oh, yeah.
It was 7-3. They're moving. They're probably going to score another touchdown. And what happens? James Cook fumbles.
Yep.
James Cook, most fumbles by a running back this year. Instead of it being 14-3 and the Bills being in complete control, and there's no way Bo Nix is going to rally 11 points down because that's not the kind of quarterback he is.
Right.
What happens? Fumble. Denver gets the momentum back. They score a touchdown. And then things started to unravel, right? You had the really bad fumble at the end of the half. Josh was trying to do too much there, but Darren Orlovsky made a great point. If you watch the full replay, a Buffalo Bills offensive lineman was there to recover the ball.
Oh, yeah.
He fell on it, didn't grab it. So, and I'm sure that guy in that moment, like, yes, that was on Josh Allen. That can't happen. He cannot even put that ball
Right.
in that situation. That was terrible. But that offensive lineman, if that offensive lineman just falls on the ball, no points. That 3-point swing, right? Allen's first interception was tough because he threw it basically in double coverage. He had a couple guys underneath. He forced that one. That was not a good throw.
Yeah.
After that, it was 23-10. Allen leads 2 touchdown drives, and it's like, okay, Josh Allen's he's got his moment again. They're up by 1. There were so many big moments, but the Bills had the ball 24-23. They're driving. They don't score a touchdown. They kick 3. I hated Joe Brady's play calling. I think it was run, pass, and it was like a screen pass, and Josh Allen, it was not a good throw.
No.
Incomplete. Field goal. Instead of scoring a touchdown and being aggressive, to me, I felt like Joe Brady's like, well, we got the 3. It puts us up 4. Defense probably doesn't give up a touchdown. I didn't like Joe Brady's play calling, didn't like the execution, but that was the difference. And then the defense, to Christopher's point, let him down, right? It was 27-23. Your defense had been rolling. You're like, okay, all you got to do is just not give up a touchdown. And then credit to Bo Nix, led a touchdown drive after he looked rough the entire second half. But there were so many plays that Josh Allen left on the field, right? The end of the fourth quarter, he had Dawson Knox wide open.
Yeah.
Wide open. If he puts that on him, he catches it at the 5, he probably scores and they win. Then in overtime, the play before the Brandon Cooks interception, he had what's-his-face open, threw it low, incomplete. It's 3rd and long. I forget what I think it was it Shavers? Is that Shavers? I think that was his name.
Something like that. I will say one thing.
Allen just left so many plays out there, but it's just like, and then of course it's like Josh Allen and the Bills are just cursed, man. It's like, of course, beautiful pass to Brandon Cooks. You think he has it, and then it's an interception. And as a Bills fan, you're probably like, you have got to be kidding me. And I'm sure a lot of unkind words were said in that moment, and rightfully so. Rightfully so.
Well, we are crunching a little on time here, so I do want to briefly. The other 2 games were stinkers. They weren't fun to watch. I mean,
I don't know. The Patriots Texans was okay for a while. Fumble City, but
until CJ Stroud decided
the 49ers
to just
the 49ers were just too hurt. I mean, that team was crutching to this point in the season. I feel bad for them. They always somehow get hit with the injury bug every year, and it sucks. And then that Texans offense, CJ Stroud, not good.
No.
Not good. That defense is the only reason it was even remotely close.
They need a quarterback who can play in the cold weather.
So let's go.
And,
who are we thinking for the Super Bowl? I'm taking Patriots, Rams.
Seahawks, Patriots. I think Seahawks are going to win the whole thing. Sam Darnold is going to be the first quarterback of his class to get the Super Bowl. Wild.
It's funny because I think when I made my bracket in here, I had Bills, Seahawks, I want to say, and then I made another bracket on ESPN with my other buddies, and I went with Seattle, New England, and so I'll stick with that. I think Drake May gets the job done. Drake May is going to have to play better, though. Drake May has not played great. He's played all right. He's played okay, but he's very lucky that CJ Stroud played way worse than he did, because
that's true.
May turned the ball over 3 times.
And it was in the same fashion, too. He did the...
Correct. So I think Drake May needs to clean some things up. I think Seattle is the team to beat right now. That defense is really good. Now, Sam Darnold, there's going to be a moment where he's going to have to deliver, and we're going to see if Sam Darnold can do it. And we'll see if Seattle's in position against LA again. But he did it last time. I like Seattle at home against LA, and I think Seattle beats New England in the Super Bowl.
Thank you guys so much for joining us on this week's episode of the CI Sports Zone on the WMD Plus app, and we'll see you next week.